Well, welcome everybody to the October 8th meeting of the Budget Finance and Investment Committee. Hope everybody got a chance to review the minutes. It should have been emailed out sometime back, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
Second.
Commissioner Schaefer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving right along. Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority. We've got the Smyrna Mafia and a few more here with us. Hillward Development Project. Gentlemen, feel free to join us at the table. Got the legal backing and Mr. Black, Chairman Woods, Mr. Lamb to back up. So
Well,
we can pull another chair up if you want to get Paul up here.
I'm gonna hold the picture.
You're gonna be Vanna.
Vanna White. Vanna here. Well, I appreciate everyone's time, and I appreciate you putting on the agenda tonight. That's the first item. We're here with you tonight on behalf of the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority with respect to an exciting proposal they have worked out with a proposed development on the Airport Authority site. As many of you may know, the Airport Authority has a large number of acres there which are not really designated for airport use, but is property that they can sell off, or they can't sell it off, but they could lease it out for development purposes. And the economic times are really good for development these days. And while it's been sitting there for a number of years, for the first time and for a while, we've had some genuine interest from a really good company out of Texas, which is a Perot company. It's one of Ross Perot Jr.'s companies, Hillwood Development. He's proposing to build a sizable facility on the property. It's about a $45 million investment on the property. And to do that, to do what we're talking about doing, the IDB board has to be part of the process, because there is not a full tax abatement, but there's a tax reduction that they would get as part of this development. And in exchange, what Hillwood will be doing will be putting in a lot of roads and infrastructure and sewer and water and things like that we can use at the Airport Authority to develop adjoining property we have in the area. So not only does this give us the immediate impact of the $45 million investment on the Airport Authority site, but also allows us to develop the remaining property we have adjacent to it, so it could be even more sizable than that. But so the Airport Authority is very excited about the project. It comes to you tonight to request that you recommend this on to the County Commission for approval. The approval that you will be doing is still going to be contingent on all this having been approved to be approved by the County Commission and by the state, because we have to get the state comptroller's office involved with this, and TDEC to bless this project, to approve the lease structure we're talking about entering in this case with Hillwood. So with having said that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Woods and Mr. Black to kind of give you the details of the project itself.
Well, John can lay out the project and tell you, the specifics of it, but we've been working on this for several months. We're very excited about it. It gives us an opportunity to generate some additional revenue for the airport to help us in our overall mission and operation of the airport. It puts some property that has lied pretty much dormant and unused since the 40s without any taxes being paid on it. It puts someone on the property that's going to pay some taxes, provide some revenue for the airport, and will provide jobs. So we're very excited about the project that Hillwood Development is proposing, and that we concur with moving forward on. So appreciate your consideration, and John's got the details.
I can see the projections on the number of jobs that might be created, because I know it's going to be one thing can lead to another, but this looks like a great first step to me.
Right.
Yeah, up to 500 at the end of the build out. Okay, well, I need charts and maps to talk with, so I'm gonna pull these out. Have Paul
That's what
pull
you
them
brought
up for
Paul
me
for.
one at a time. So this is our airport master plan that we worked off of, and it's a planning document that's a 15 to 20 year document. The hangar project we have going on right now is in this area for all this aviation development. The industrial piece is in this corner of the airport. It's kind of The topography goes up drastically in this area, so it really doesn't work for aviation, but it works perfectly for industrial development. I failed to introduce Mr. Brian Camp. He's representing Hillwood today, so he's here with us as well. So this is the area that we're looking at. It is a continuation of the master plan, and to show you where that is in relation to the rest of the airport. Terminal is right here. Here's Sam Ridley Parkway. This is Aviation Parkway that comes off of 4170, and it's this blue area up to the northern end, which is the borderline of Laverne up here, the north. And then this is
close to home.
yeah. And this is a close-up of that one piece up there at the northern end of the property. So these are the two buildings that they're looking at putting in, as well as extending Aviation Parkway down to this point and then bring this road around, which will connect with our perimeter road that will take people from the west side of the airport to the east side of the airport, actually without getting on Sam Ridley Parkway at some point in time. So this is building 1, 305,000 square feet, building 2, 617,000 square feet. Like was mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of activity, a lot of the Nissan suppliers, a lot of interest and need for this type of building in Rutherford County, and we're in a perfect spot. We're not on the interstate, but we're still in a very good spot in our location. It fits in perfectly with our master plan, so we're very excited about it. It's a good project, good long-term project. It'll bring a lot of revenue to the airport and to Rutherford County as a whole.
How long was the lease before?
50 years. Some options at the end of that.
I'm sure there's a reason for this, but why does the state have to get involved?
For the IDB boards involved with respect to certain tax abatements, it's not really a full abatement in this case, but there are some tax implications that we have to get the state to sign off on. Because we do have a longer lease that's going to be, usually the IDB board does leases of 20 years or less. Since it's over 20 years, we have to get the state's approval on it.
But this would only be for 30 years on the abatement or on the tax treatment.
Correct.
But the term of the lease would be 50.
It's also the same reason y'all can't okay it on your own, or the IDB can't.
Correct.
Right.
And the airport does not own the property. The county and the city are the actual owners of the airport.
So how much money are we talking about, abatement or whatever you want to call it? Are we talking about them not having to pay? And what kind of payback have we got on that?
They would be paying taxes in lieu of tax on the lease itself, on the leased property, not on the improvements.
Has that already been completely ironed out for the IDB? They've got guidelines, it's got to be a 3-to-1 or different things and stuff, and I didn't know if that had been completely through.
Yeah, that's where I was
You
headed.
wanna-
Well, I was letting them do their thing.
They're all trade seats with you.
But the tax abatement's just on the leased property?
There are two pieces. It really is not a complicated deal, but in order to get to where they want to get it, it gets a little convoluted. There's the tax rate, if you will, that was set by the commission actually many years ago when the property was transferred, and the commission at that time envisioned that there'd be a rate set for non-aviation related development, and that's the piece that's good. That's essentially what the abatement is. It's not the abatement in the sense that we usually look at it, where there's been a younger report and a cost-benefit ratio, or we've not done that, and we didn't do that because for a couple of reasons. Number one, since it's a speculative venture, ultimately there's probably going to be 500 jobs, but when they build it, we don't know. And the second reason is since that we knew we were coming to the commission anyway because of the fact that the county has an ownership interest in the property and a say in what gets done. So that usual step has not been taken, and if the committee will recall, if we don't do a younger, or if we don't meet that 3-to-1 ratio, then we come through the commission, but the commission has the ability to approve whatever you deem appropriate. So that's a piece of it, and when the structure of it would be that the airport authority would lease the property to the industrial development board who would then sublet it to the developer, and they would make, you can call it lease payments or payment in lieu of tax payments in an amount equal to that, to that computation. I don't have it in front of me. It's been done on more than one occasion by the property assessor.
It's on the leasehold improvement though, right?
Yeah.
It's on the improvement,
Correct.
not on the land, it's the
Correct.
improvement.
Yes.
I
you're
think there's an
exactly right.
example in your, in your documentation in here.
Well,
About
that
the
was-
third or fourth page into your document, there's there's an example computation. also.
It's math, Mr. Tucker, so I'm stay clear of it. The second moving part to this is the reason, an additional reason for the lease to the IDB and then the sublet is that for a leasehold to go this long, which is not, I mean, it's not long in terms of the amount of money that's being put into the development, but when you have a reduced amount of tax being paid for that long a period of time, the State Board of Equalization oftentimes will say that the leasehold itself is taxable, because a leasehold is an interest in property, just like the fee simple is. And in order to avoid that problem, we sublet, and that is the reason for the second resolution that is being put to you tonight, and that is for the issuance of taxable revenue bonds in the amount of $45 million. That structure is often used. We've done it many times and brought it to you before in order to avoid the taxation of the leasehold interest. It's not a normal go-to-market or privately place the bond. The bond is essentially, the developer is going to be simultaneously the borrower and the holder of the bond. But that has the effect of creating a debt and to offset the leasehold valuation. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but that's really the only way that we know how to get at that problem. So that's the reason for the second resolution that we passed at the last IDB meeting. In addition to the request that we be able to lease it and then sublet it, we want to be able to issue the bonds in order to avoid the leasehold taxation for that 50-year or actually 30-year period.
But to go back to simple terms, which is something that I understand, talking about 75 acres that hadn't had any revenue generated or anything happen in 60, 70 years plus. And this is not tax dollars we're getting today. It's nothing we're getting today. It's just an in lieu of on the improvements they're going to make on the county-owned property that is on a 50-year lease. I mean, for people out there watching, we're not giving away any dollars that are currently being generated. We're basically allowing somebody to increase the value of our own property on a 50-year lease and get in lieu of, and they're still going to be paying. It just won't be the full amount. It'll still be sizable dollars coming into the county.
Yes.
Not to mention jobs created, infrastructure put in place, and everything else that's going to help benefit the taxpayers of Rutherford County and increase the value of the other property there on site that the county owns. Is that, I mean, I just try and do it simple. I mean, I don't know about, but there's already dollars that we're getting now. We're not giving away anything that we're already getting.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly right.
Right. You have an estimation of how much revenue that would generate for the county when we're completed with the project, or?
No, and frankly, we haven't. We don't typically do that calculate. Well, Younger typically does that calculation, but we have not done it for this project because we knew we were coming to the commission anyway. Now, it would theoretically be possible to go back and ask Younger to plug these numbers, and they could tell you in the long term what that would be, just for general information purposes. And we can certainly do that.
I'd like to see that if possible, so.
It won't yield a 3-to-1. I can just eyeball and tell you that. But in terms of what it will mean in property tax revenue after the expiration of the lease, sure, we can sort of project it. I mean, you don't know what the tax rate's going to be.
Well, you've got some infrastructure that's going in there too that's going to help us quite a bit.
Yes, sir, we can do that.
But page 6 is where I just pulled it up in here. The pilot detail it tells, and it comes out that the way it's done is the land is gonna be valued at, with the way it's gonna be figured at $2.1 million. No, yeah, 2.1. And the tax equivalent's 840,000. And then it's gonna, because that'll be the assessed value. And so you multiply that by 2.68, and you're gonna come out with $2.1 million, roughly, somewhere in that 2.2 something. So if we're getting nothing now, it seems to me that we will get that at the current rate.
That 840,000, then you get per $100 of assessed times 2.68.
Clear, 2.68 times, what was that, what was the middle, what was that?
840,638, but that's the 40% assessed value.
658.
It's per $100
Divided by 100.
divided by 100.
Good thing I have counted 22,000. 22,530 at today's rate.
I like to bet on 2 zeros for Avatar.
Well, that's what we have now.
But I don't know, is this lease, annual ground lease amount you put in here, is that in the neighborhood of what's going to happen
Yes.
possibly? Okay.
And what it will mean to the airport is about $280,000 a year in revenue for the airport to help us operate that public facility, which we need very desperately. And it helps us provide a public facility for the community, for the county.
Are
And,
you-
I was gonna say, and the lease rate goes up by 2% a year regardless. So that'll increase that 22,000 a year.
I was just curious on the steps. The IDB has already met and approved the preliminary. Then commission will approve a preliminary, or
They'll approve, and then it'll go back to the Industrial Development Board for final approval.
okay,
And-
we'll do it and then y'all do a final.
That's right.
Okay, then when does all that then go to the state for their approval?
We'll simultaneously be talking to them at the same time that we come back to the IDB for final approval. As was mentioned, it's the length of the term that causes us to have to go to ECD and comptroller. But I don't envision any problem with that. Sometimes you run into problems with it when there is a lot of money being taken away from the taxpayers, but this isn't one of those situations. So but it is a step that by statute you're required to take. And they just issue a letter. They just say,
Okay.
okay, is basically what happens. That's exactly right.
So after you get those approvals, and are you going to come back as a requirement to the county commission again for final approval?
No,
No,
we're
sir.
doing an approval.
No, sir, but
But if I read these two documents, this is a resolution preliminarily authorizing, and then the last sentence in the thing says, notwithstanding the foregoing final approval by the board and the agreements is subject to the prior approval of the Rutherford County Commission. Sort of explain what that sentence says there.
yeah, the sequence of events is supposed to be what it usually is on a bond issuance. If you'll recall, there's a preliminary or inducement resolution that is sent from the IDB to budget and then goes to full commission. And then there's the final approval then comes from the Industrial Development Board. And that final approval is at the point in time where you've got all your documents.
So this is out.
The board's IDB.
We just don't have we don't have the agreement yet. This is not, we're approving by Thursday, we'll have the resolution.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not this resolution.
Okay, so this is
This
not
is
all-
their this is
The IDB.
IDB's
Okay.
IDB's resolution.
So we will have,
By
The final.
commission
Okay.
meeting, there will be an actual resolution, correct?
It helps to have an actual document.
So what we need now is a motion to send it on to the commission.
We've got two resolutions, so we need separate motions.
I think that would be proper, yes, sir.
We've got the first resolution to issue bonds. And of course, this is all the same deal, just one step after the other. I mean, personally, I don't see a negative to this.
No
Glad
liability.
these gentlemen are here. Welcome to Rutherford County. Hope you stay a while. And we'll entertain whatever motion anybody feels appropriate this time.
Can we take them both together?
As long as you specify, Mr. Chairman, that you're voting on both of them, we can do that.
Okay.
Well, if we got a room full of attorneys, if they're shaking their head yes.
Well, I'll make it then that we approve the resolution to issue the bonds and a resolution for the lease on the airport property and send it to the full commission.
Second.
There we have a resolution, motion to approve both by Commissioner Schaefer and a second by Commissioner Allen. And Laverne, Commissioner, and Smyrna, Commissioner. Imagine that.
Well, that was pretty
And,
close. That, where they're building this is pretty
Your
close
house
to
on
the
that
house.
map, but, if there are any further discussion,
Is there any cost directly or indirectly that the county could be liable for on this?
No, sir.
Well,
None.
I didn't think so. I just wanted to bring that out for people that are listening because they're gonna say, hey, you're playing with my money. And this looks like pretty much a win-win to me too, so.
No liability to the county.
And is there any, the IDB is going to borrow the money and going to loan the money, right?
Yes, sir.
And is there-
It is a yes, but the structure is ledger sheet more than it is an actual
So-
market type thing.
So the IDB, how are they held harmless from any default on the bonds?
There's a legal reason and a practical reason. The legal reason will be that the bond documents will say as much, as we always have in those documents, that there's no liability to the county or the board or anybody. The practical reason is that since the company is both the borrower and the bondholder, if they default, it's because they didn't pay themselves. So I don't really see that happening.
Hillwood will actually be building this property with their own cash, their own money.
Okay.
just making
That
it
makes-
all
that
work
makes-
to the
that's-
taxes and everything.
That's why they were held harmless, okay.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan? Yes. Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
And we felt like this would not go on consent.
Imagine that.
Oh.
Imagine
Yeah, well, we'll get to discuss this
That's
all
why I
over again
told you.
next
I figured
Thursday.
that. Okay, thank you.
I would doubt this would go on next Thursday. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it'd probably
Appreciate
be
it.
wise if your team is here at the commission meeting as well.
Yeah, hopefully there won't be any questions to be answered, but we want to have that availability. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Investor report. Mr. Beatty with us somewhere?
He is, and
There he is.
I think this resolution is long.
I'll just say the other resolution on your iPad. Mr. Beatty, welcome.
Thank you.
Nothing but good news, we hope.
Oh, it is good. The LGIP rate's up 2 basis points. So it's moving in the right direction. And we had a bid this month that went to Franklin Synergy Bank for 74 basis points, which replaced money that was at 46 basis points. So that's 61% better. So still, as you can look at our bid sheets, not just not broad interest, but you know, for the last couple, we've had significant improvements where the money's been. So at least we're moving in the right direction. We have a significant bid at the end of the month, and we've had some interest in that. So hopefully we'll have good news for next month as well.
Any questions of Mr. Beatty?
Motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Commissioner Baum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Beatty, I would ask is, Dr. Bullen's still the first person to pay his taxes every year. Did he pay this year first? That was his claim to fame for many
He's
years.
always, but he's not a commissioner anymore, so he's not quite as quick to the pay table as he was.
People are welcome to pay their taxes any business hours, Monday through Friday.
8 to 4:30, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. And remember our tax programs, we're taking appointments for those as well. They can call our office at 615-898-7705.
You've
We're
got
glad to help them.
two good programs out
We
there.
we
Thank
do,
you.
and we had a lot of folks call.
Yeah.
And the Smyrna office is Monday Tuesday and Thursday in the County Clerk's Building by the admission testing station. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 8 to 4, and we go to lunch from 12:30 to 1, so they can, if they're in the north end of the county, that's more convenient. Thank you.
You gonna give your people half an hour for lunch?
We do it, it's Myrna, yeah.
Okay.
But she gets off at 4.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you.
Unconditioned report, Ms. Miller.
Okay, beginning with the development tax. In September, we collected $561,750. That included 2 apartments. One that was 84 units and one that was 143 units. Brings our total to date to $1,409,250. Our estimate on this was $2.4 million. So, while I'm here, I did look at the amount that we have in our reserve for capital projects, which is the balance from this that's not going to debt service, stands at $1,635,000. Let's see, moving to the cash. At the end of September, we had $182,404,000 with $148,732,000 being operating funds and borrowed funds of $33,672,000. One item, well, I've got 2 items I would want to just talk about. The very last line, the energy efficiency project, the school board. I'm not sure if they've billed or pulled down their monies from that lease, not from the lease, but from the loan, revolving loan. We're just showing it once. He gets those together, he'll bill those and we'll get the money in. The other item, we rarely ever talk about it, and even with the new commissioners, I just thought, I don't remember ever talking about it, but this line, 333 Private Purpose Trust Fund, $28,782, it's been on there forever. That is monies that somebody had donated, set up a trust, and the interest earnings of that funds a scholarship at Eagleville. So, didn't know if y'all ever knew that, or just calling let you know that
So if
number
other
never
people,
changes.
if other people want to donate, we can set up funds at other schools
Yes.
for other scholarships.
Right. Should know if that.
People may not know the
I didn't-
county
people
has
didn't
the
know that
ability
we
to do
did
that,
that.
you know?
Okay, moving, I don't know if anybody had any,
Is that just a year scholarship?
yes, whatever it earns. and
Okay.
Mr. Brady goes and tries to find.
So,
Any school or anything?
No, just Eagleville. It's only for Eagleville.
Somebody donated money.
Yeah,
and
from
earmarked it
Eagleville,
for
but they
Eagleville.
can go to any school.
in the college.
Any
Yeah.
college? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought, okay. Any
How
college.
much does it cost?
Yeah, I thought
So we charge
you
them
meant.
equal these days.
No, I thought you were asking if others, high schools could get it. Okay. Are we on the same page?
Yeah. I thought we had public education.
Yeah, we can start charging for Eagle. That's a waiting list already.
Okay.
Don't say that out loud.
Okay, looking at the revenue on how we've got, on some revenues, 3 months collected, and in other months, only 2 months collected, but as you saw in the development tax, we're about 120% more than what we were last year. Our hotel motel tax is up 42.5% compared to last year for the same period of time. That's on Fund 101 total taxes. Moving down on there, because I do have some, and I'll talk about this every time. This is, you know, when you see the line item compared to the prior years, it's what shoots out at me. Monies from the state is high compared to prior years because we had, just on our measurement focus on the monies we get for the prisoners sitting at the jail for the state boarding bill. June is accounted for in this fiscal year because we got it late. Compared the total fees for county offices, it looks like it's down compared to last year, but the thing that happened last year when you look at the other years is you had a change in office holder, and when that happens, they close out all their money and it all comes in to the county. That begins it in, so that's where you will have that whenever there's a change in office holder. And item number 4, the last line, when compared to the other periods, that was a first settlement payment that we received from the New Dawn.
Uh-huh.
That's that big one. Going to the second page where I've got the other funds, the items of note, our sales tax. Overall, this is all governments reporting. We are 9.2% compared to the prior year, and that's reflected, that 9.2% increase. You're going to see it primarily, well, only in the schools, because they get a piece of all the sales tax, regardless of where the sales were made. The rural areas collections are about 49% higher.
Well, can you elaborate on that? Where did they get so much? Is it out of exit 89, Buchanan exit? Is that where a lot of stuff is going in for sales tax? Or
Are we talking about rural area or
in
cities?
rural area?
Dollar General.
I'm saying Dollar General.
Yeah. I know they were building stuff out there.
I mean, I never know where it comes in because it just comes in.
Dollar
It's just
General all
all
over
what
the
I can
county,
see.
and they're all
Yeah.
doing them
Everywhere.
everywhere. So.
That's what I attribute it to. Going down, last one is debt service. You're seeing an increase compared to the other ones, and a lot of that fund is also seeing that increase of the development tax. The other half of the development tax that's ahead of schedule goes into debt service. So that's why you see their increase. And that's it. There's no other questions?
Any further questions, Ms. Nolan?
Motion to approve the report.
Thank you, Commissioner
Second.
Speed. Mr. Schaefer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving right along, risk management report. Ms. Street, welcome.
How are you all?
Fine, how about yourself?
I'm inviting someone to the table with me tonight. This is Ryan Aiken with Benefit Focus, and we'll talk about the bid process that we went through and their proposal in just a moment. I'll start with Fund 264. For the month of September, for our self-funded claims, our per employee per month ended at $855 compared to prior year of $979, for a year-to-date average of $929, prior year-to-date average of $911. Combining the on-site medical, our total per employee per month increased to $893 compared to prior year of $1,013, for a year-to-date of $972 compared to prior year of $937. For Fund 266, the month of September ended at $195,066 compared to prior year of $177,421.
Any questions on Ms. Street's report? If so, we'll entertain a motion to approve that before we move on to the next portion.
Motion to approve is presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have anything on? We do everything.
And I have paper copies of the spreadsheet if anyone would like to have a copy of that.
I can see it.
This one,
It's like on here.
Maybe easier. Did you all have a paper copy?
It's the same thing from
Yeah,
here.
it's just a follow through.
Everybody have one now? Nope, there you go. I'll also go ahead and give you these as well, because that's the next document that you have there. Everywhere. Everybody? You good? All right. So beginning with the financials, we put out to bid our online benefit management and enrollment system. Currently, the platform that we use is ADP. Their current version of their platform is 7. We're on version 2, just to give you an idea of how long we've had this system. It's very limited in its ability to provide certain functionality for our employees in terms of the online enrollment as well as from an administrative perspective. So we bid that and we released the bid to 4 different companies, requested a copy. We received back 3 intent to bid and finally received 2 bids at bid opening. And those were from ADP as the incumbent and Benefit Focus. Some of the things that we were looking to achieve was improved functionality, improved administrative capabilities. We wanted to address the needs of our Spanish-speaking population, as well as provide increased reporting capability, telephonic open enrollment, things that would create a better user experience during open enrollment, and to have a system that worked with them in such a way that it gave them the advice and guidance that they needed in order to make the best open enrollment decision. Things that I currently do manually today and that a lot of my staff do manually during the open enrollment period. When we looked at the implementation costs as well as the annual cost of the 2 proposals, ADP came in year 1 at $414,200. Benefit Focus came in at $293,945. We had asked both of them if they would provide us with a maximum not to exceed rate increase amount for years beyond 3. ADP did not provide one, but Benefit Focus gave that rate increase will not exceed 3% for years beyond the initial 3-year period. Beginning years 2 and 3, ADP came in at $362,700, whereas Benefit Focus came in at $229,320. Now, one of the things that Benefit Focus had in addition is a benefits analytics package. And the report that I give you is a good financial, it tells you what pace we are at month over month, but it doesn't give us a lot of detail. If you look at this packet of information, this is a list of the 70 existing reports that are inside the Advanced Analytics platform. And what this would do is give me greater control over the data in terms of looking at what our spend is, better understanding where we need to increase initiatives, address the plan. Things that right now I receive on an annual basis from Cigna, or I can do an ad hoc report, but it takes a couple of weeks to get that. So if we're trying to be nimble, it makes it very difficult. The other thing that I provided is a sample of what our monthly reporting could transition to. So I provided you with monthly cost summary, which should give you a better idea month over month. Normative comparison summary, as well as the plan experience summary. And what this would do is allow more meaningful conversation on a monthly basis. So when we get to the dreaded rate conversation in March, we all have a better understanding as to the background of why we're having the discussions that we are. So the recommendation was to go with Benefit Focus, both for the administrative system as well as the advanced analytics package. And combining those 2 together still comes in at a lower cost than ADP on just the benefit system that they proposed.
Was it unanimous out of the insurance committee?
Yes, sir, it was.
You went through purchasing too.
Yes, and we did go through purchasing, and it was contingent upon the recommendation from insurance, and it was unanimous to go with the administrative system as well as the advanced analytics.
Commissioner Allen, you're now on the insurance committee.
I am.
I hope you're enjoying yourself.
I am, actually. Both companies gave a really thorough and involved presentation. And at first, you begin to think, okay, well, they're going to be neck and neck. What's going to set one apart from the other? And it was the analytics package by far is what set this company ahead. I mean, the other one didn't even offer it at all. So we weren't making any advances in that area. And, data drives everything. So, that knowledge is power. So it's a great value.
After having spent several years on the insurance committee, I hope everybody gets a chance to go sit in on those meetings every now and then, because they are very in-depth for the most part. And I don't mean to oversimplify, but pretty much any time something comes that's unanimous from the insurance committee, that speaks volumes to me, that it needs to be supported. So I'm just glad Commissioner Allen doing it now, not me.
And I'm still having a good time.
You didn't tell me this comes with that IBNR estimate.
I like to surprise you every now and
Thank you.
then. Yeah, I appreciate that. I knew that only you would appreciate that at this point. I was trying to speak to the masses before.
Any further questions of Ms. Street? Or Mr. I'm sorry,
Brian Aiken.
Welcome. And-
Thank you.
And I feel sure he'd be glad to answer any questions too. He's took the time to be here.
If they're ready for a motion, I'll make a motion to approve as
Have a
presented.
motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Schaefer.
On the analytics, you said that'll let us be more nimble. Can you give me an example of how you would use that to our benefit?
Yes. So I'll talk about it from two perspectives. One from the employee's perspective. With the advanced analytics, their open enrollment experience will change 100%. It will actually go in and make recommendations to them based on their actual claims inside of Cigna. So it will import the claims data, medical and pharmacy, and it will say, based on your spending, this is the recommended insurance coverage for you. So it will make it much easier. And the thing that it will do for us is it will allow us to dive into the details. So as an example, if we are seeing an increase in a situation inside of our clinics, all of a sudden we have people coming in for certain medical conditions, I'll be able to actually go in and look to see what our spend rate is inside of the Cigna claims through this system as well. So then we can say, okay, this is what we're spending inside of our health plan. How much would it cost for us to pull this in the clinics and start doing focused initiatives like that? We'll be able to compare things like what are our costs for individuals who use MedPoint versus doesn't use MedPoint? Where are we seeing gaps in care with individuals so that we can do targeted approaches to them to say, hey, did you know, type things. We've tried to do that with the data that we have currently. It's just more complicated. And sometimes the ability to react, it doesn't really help if we learn 3 months from now that our claims are trending a certain way we're not aware of. I can tell you often I'll have a thought and I can't get to the data. So some of these reports will allow me to go in and be able to quickly access information because it will be uploaded once a month with actual claims data from Cigna. So I'll be able to better gauge and manage the health plan and make recommendations. So whenever you all say, is this good? Then I can say yes, and this is what we're seeing inside the health plan. I really want to take it beyond more numbers to, hey, this is what our folks are dealing with. This is what we need to be aware of. This is why we're seeing that we may potentially need this increase versus this is where we need to adjust our services and things like that that we just don't have the ability to do today and be nimble in doing it.
Thank you.
Sounds like there's no downside to going with benefit focus. Remind me, how many years would we be committing to using this system?
So our standard is normally 3 years guarantee rate with 2 years right of renewal is what we do.
But you, if I remember correctly, after 3 years, 3% is the maximum.
Right.
Take a raise
Right.
for additional years.
Yes, that's correct.
And we're not locked into those years anyway. We could walk
That's right.
away.
That's correct. We did do reference checks. City of Clarksville just recently became a client, as well as Life Care Centers of America is a client of theirs. They were in the infancy phase of implementation, but I actually know the HR director there. And I called Mr. Golden and spoke with him, and he said that whenever he referenced out, he got really positive feedback as well. So everyone that I spoke to had very good things to say. I can tell you that in talking with them about their platform, everything that we would question or ask for, is this available? The answer was always yes. They showed us what we had heard through references as well, so we feel very comfortable in making the recommendation.
And the folks who were there who were representing the employees seemed really excited about the counseling piece that's just right at their fingertips, where you had to do a lot of personal counseling with folks, and really only for those folks who would come in and ask for it.
That's right.
And so now with their own claims data and their own family experience, they can see, it maximizes their benefits.
Yes.
So they're not overinsuring, they're not underinsuring.
That's right.
And so the employees, they were really excited about that piece.
Yeah, more times than not when I sit down with someone, they're in the wrong health plan based on what their spending is. And by the time that we do the financial analysis and I walk them through it, they need to make some type of movement in their election. The other thing too that this does, we get a lot of English as second language in our office, and it's very difficult for us to work with them. So the fact that they will be able to provide that resource, those individuals, when they log into the system, can actually push a button and it will convert everything to Spanish. As well as they can do telephonic open enrollment. And technology is always a struggle with some certain segments of our population, so they can actually call in and give them the benefits over the phone. And then they will have their enrollment done that way. So I think that there's a lot of value add in terms of the dynamic of our population and how it's going to work for them better.
Is this analytics only tied to Cigna, or would it be able to change to another carrier should we change carriers?
It would be able to change to another carrier. It's just,
Would there be
you
a
know,
cost
data
to
and
implement that?
There's no cost to implement that as long as we're transitioning to another carrier, so no cost in that case.
They also currently interface with WageWorks, which is our new FSA COBRA vendor effective 1/1, so that's going to give us some improved synergies as well. So we'll benefit from that.
Sounds like a win-win to me. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yeah.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave?
There was a lot of work that went into that, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ms. Reed, I take it you will be there next Thursday night.
Yes,
Could
I'm
be
gonna be
some-
there.
I don't think that'll be on the consent agenda. General fund budget amendment for ag extension.
I'll
See
I'll
Mr.
take
Tuggle,
care.
so I guess you're taking it.
Yes, sir. This is a request. They had to replace and repair a unit, a compressor unit at the Lane Agri Park, and they are going to use money in their committed for agriculture. It's $26,000.
So that's basically what the conservation board.
Correct.
They were gonna ask the county for half, the conservation board for half. I guess they got all of it from the conservation board.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner P. Second, Commissioner Jernigan.
I like the word expired in your request.
Well, there's two compressors, so be prepared. I like that.
Well, we haven't ever done anything out there with their heating and cooling or anything, have we?
There were some issues when that building first opened. I don't remember what, I thought right.
In animal control, we had
No,
some.
no, there
You're
were some
talking about
issues over there
How
also.
That was before.
High
we did.
bills and stuff, because it was, I remember something, and they had to have some controllers changed out or something. I think it was major, but I remember it was, it's been about 10 or 12 years ago, but when I first opened the building, the bills were a lot higher than expected, and I think they finally got that worked out, but that's a long time ago. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Motion passes. Site lease with MTEMC for emergency management.
TK not here. This is just a continuation of our communications overall project whereby, you know, we've been adding towers and adding equipment on towers. And again, we already have one lease, I think, in Middle Tennessee Electric at another location, but this is the one on Braidwood Pike, I believe. Yes, that's correct. $3,400 a year, and they're gonna let us put our microwave stuff up there and sublease some of the basic equipment area there. So that's our request, and it's a 10-year lease at $3,400 annually with a rent to increase by an amount equal to 5% every year.
I will acknowledge that I'm on the board of directors of Middle Tennessee Electric and will not be voting on this.
Make a motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Is this rent rate comparable to what we pay on the other ones?
Yeah, it's a nominal rate. You know.
What's the rate right now, or before this change?
We're not on there right now.
Okay,
This is an additional tower that we're putting our things on.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Abstain. Motion passes. Tennessee Department of Health grant from contractor Pauls. Mr. Gregory, welcome.
This is a grant that we apply for every year through the animal-friendly license plates. Last year, I think we got about 3,200. It's 4,000 this year. That will enable us to do 125 surgeries for low-income residents of the county. Doesn't require any county money.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer, Commissioner Payne. Further discussion?
Just, how do you determine a low income?
They have to provide proof of either being on Social Security, food stamps, WIC, those type services. As part of their application, they have to provide that. I have to keep that on file if they ever come back.
How do you get the word out to them? TV? No?
Well, typically that one, the spots fill up the quickest. We usually, in the past, all we've used are limited Facebook, Channel 19. Of course, people listen to the meetings here. This year, we had the advantage of having our PR person to help get that out into some other ways.
Any further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. General Fund Budget Amendment for the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Arnold.
How are y'all?
Miss Rosemary with you tonight. How are you tonight?
Fine. Okay, we have 3 amendments. The first one is to recognize revenue from the GHSO teen grant going into overtime and related benefits, in-service training, and other supplies. The second amendment is to recognize revenue from a GHSO alcohol grant going into overtime and related benefits. And the third one is to recognize revenues from the insurance recovery and sale of equipment into new vehicles.
Any questions on any of these 3? Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Special Purpose Fund Budget Amendment.
It's asset forfeiture funds of $4,645 going into law enforcement equipment.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Baum. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good evening.
One other thing for y'all, Mr. Kaplan's not here. Your crime map. You can also see them on our Facebook.
If there's any crime in my district,
Yeah.
we passed the rule.
Yeah. So, also, I wanted to let y'all know, because I know there's been several questions with the special purpose fund. I'm willing to put on a PowerPoint if y'all are willing to come to it and learn. Let the narcotics guys come and give you a PowerPoint of what they do, why they do it, how they do it, and the fund. And I was actually expecting y'all to ask questions, and this is what we've been buying with the special purpose fund. These are roughly $8,000 a radio.
Wow.
So,
You didn't leave it anywhere.
yeah, no. This one's actually the major's. Mine's in a
that's
truck.
Yes.
But we've been using grant money and drug money to buy these radios. We have roughly, how many we buy this year?
We bought 25, we got 17 more on order, which leaves us 30 plus something to get for the rest.
For the rest of the guys, we've used JAG grants, and
What's so special about this? I mean,
this is
outside the fact they cost a lot.
it can get in touch with everybody in the county where our car radios and our old radios could not. Smyrna, Laverne, airport, 7-800. It gets a hold of MTSU. You can also put probably every other county in the state in it if you want. UTAC. This is what all the other law enforcement agencies in the county have, and we're just trying to get up to the same technology and the fire departments have. Except I don't think our fire department has it yet. But
Better than other. Somebody else up there asking for something.
Oh, yeah. And the city of Murfreesboro, when they did it, they actually went to bond and they just bought them for fire department and police department all at one time. And it was a big purchase. Smyrna and Laverne have had them for a long time. So, is there anything else you think of?
Well, no, you hit the highlights. They're tri-band, which means you can communicate with all the other, whatever band they're on. They have an officer down button on there with the GPS locator, so that if you can't talk, you can press it, and it'll tell the dispatch.
You know a little bit about radios, I know.
It'll tell dispatch where you're at.
Are they
So that we
intrinsic?
can respond. I'm sorry?
Are they intrinsic? Explodable? I mean, can you be
Just
around
gasoline.
gasoline, fumes, anything like that?
I don't know that.
Well, that kind of money,
Particular,
I'm assuming
I
it would
don't know,
be. so-
Commissioner P. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
The main issue is
That kind of money
they're highly versatile when it comes to programming.
Well, being able
And you
to
can program in a
communicate.
lot of channels at one time.
Yeah, I assume it's scannable too.
It is. It is.
And you can block them, I would hope, if you're able to
They have
listen to that
encryption
thing. so-
capabilities.
Okay.
And that's one direction we're hoping to go in the future is encrypt all of our stuff. But it does, the officer down button does work very well, and it also has the identifiers in them. And that's one thing that we've been lacking for years is the identifiers, to identify each officer when they key up.
So where are your dead spots in the county now with those?
Still locating them, they're different, it depends. 'Cause
Same
you
place
can't never
they've
guess.
always-
There's
same
always
place they've
gonna be
always
dead
been?
spots. Yeah,
It's
but they
getting
have
better.
improved. They have improved.
It's getting better, but I would let.
Let me put it this way,
Really
you
is.
can get better results on that radio than your car radio if you're near those dead spots. It's just more powerful.
Then I would talk about, Joe Gurley talked about that at Public Safety the other day about the dead spots and gave a presentation, so maybe y'all would get with Public Safety and get them to give y'all the same presentation, because I know you're not on Public Safety anymore. Other than that, that's all I've got. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Dead spots are getting smaller and smaller.
Revised list for Education Capital Project Fund. Mr. Sandy, take it this you.
Good evening.
The board and Health and Ed have approved a revision of the major capital projects listing for Fund 177. The new number is based on the budget and the revenue approved by the commission back on June 26th. The new total is $3,833,049, and the difference in what we're doing, we did include the $184,534 for the last year's projects that were not complete. Normally we take that out of fund balance. We did not do that on this revised list because we already had to go into fund balance because of the change in the way we did the pennies and wanted to save some money for next year. But just some minor changes from what we saw before and accommodating that 185,000 with the differences.
Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
Second.
Commissioner Schaefer. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Fong?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Ask a
Thank you,
question
Mr. Knapp.
before Mr. Sammy gets up.
Yes, sir.
John Colton at school.
Yes.
Any word yet with
It's
that?
advanced enough desk.
Okay.
That's the latest word we have on it.
Right here, that way.
Solid waste budget transfer. Mr. Nolan,
How are y'all?
welcome.
I'll give y'all some good news. I found out today, talking about radios and the way they work. Rutherford County Solid Waste has the best radios in the county. We're the only radio system that does not have a dead spot.
We'll talk to the sheriff.
We work from our radios that work from Goodlettsville to Columbia.
You come off the North Net.
Do they cost less than
Yeah.
$8,000 a
Yeah.
piece?
But we're on a repeater by ourselves, and it's an old repeater, so we may have to replace that at some time. Joe Gurley told me that, but Peter's been checking all the frequencies, and we're the only frequency that works countywide.
Congratulations.
So we're gonna stay on that by ourselves because we get in trouble. We have a solid waste budget amendment. This is actually coming out of the landfill side. We want to move $3,000 out of crushed stone into the travel line item. Colonel Davidson and I are wanting to go to Florida, to Orlando for a energy conference, and it's going to be trying to work into ways of dealing with trash into energy type solutions.
Y'all got some big problems to solve in the next number of years.
We must start now.
We can't keep on dumping our garbage out and burying it with dirt for eternity.
Is this gonna be somewhere in late January, early February?
It's November the 16th through the 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve. So we need to learn it.
Motion by Commissioner Schaefer, second by Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
When you come back from that, you'll be given a briefing at Public Works or something?
Yes, sir.
Come to that.
All it'll take
Of
is
course,
a
they'll be
month.
dead by the time that
All right.
as their landfills.
No, surely not.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan.
Thank y'all.
General fund budget and note finance. You're gonna do it, Ms. Nolan?
I'm bringing this forward, but the amendment is I'm requesting money out of unassigned fund balance to go into our Office of Information Technology budget to provide additional monies to buy licensing to put electronic timekeeping into the sheriff's department and jail. The sheriff has expressed interest again in moving forward with that way to keep timekeeping instead of paper timesheets and ending some redundancy where they're entering and then we're entering.
So what are you talking about, a punch clock?
Yes, when you go out today, look where the
mailroom.
Thank you, the mailroom, where right beside it is the monitor and beside it is a small thing. Individuals can clock in from either device and it records their punch when they're in and when they're out.
I thought some of their officers, if they were on the road,
But we're not going to start with the officers here.
We're not starting with the
That's a little more
officers.
complicated, but we have this in any number of departments now, but we haven't. We just want to continue to spread this out so we can have better control.
Detention officers
We'll
and
probably start
clerical
with-
and all that, they're there. You know, they aren't out anywhere.
We're probably
they're
going to
not
start
there.
with just them to start with, and this other will have to be another step.
Because their timing is different. There's also some new technologies with the system that we have that we're exploring too, that will make it easier for the patrol.
My question is or uneasiness, anytime I see unassigned fund balance, has the finance department been responsible for paying for this for all the other departments?
And this is not finance. Actually, this
Okay.
is Brian's budget.
This is Brian's budget,
And
okay.
yes, Brian's budget is
So-
the
so
one that is
Brian-
typically, that
and-
pays for these.
And he didn't foresee this, doesn't have it in his.
Oh, we hadn't even talked
anywhere
about
in
it.
his budget, so.
No.
I don't guess the sheriff would have it anywhere in his budget to transfer over with. Just asking, we always ask before we go to
I was
unassigned
going to
fund
ask a
balance.
related question, or I was going to phrase it similarly, and that was going to be, why wouldn't this come out of the sheriff's budget?
We typically have not made these purchases out of the department's budget. It's more like an overall kind of system and running it all through Brian's budget.
We just
is how
need more
handle it.
licenses so that the system, which is
By users,
for
yeah.
all
it's
departments,
by-
can actually be used in the sheriff's department.
Right, and you're adding 450?
17.
You need a license for each employee?
Yes, yes.
But you're not gonna utilize this system with the ones that are out on the road, or at least.
Yet,
Yeah, but they would still be in the system, I guess.
yeah. I mean, we wouldn't like buy all license at once. We'll buy them in increments.
In increments as we, implement.
You've been, over time here, the last several years, you've bought different
We do.
departments, but not all together, but spread out.
And that's how we managed this system. It was interesting as we did, oh, before I forget, 709, Brian said needs to be 317. Instead of data processing equipment, 317 is services. Just let you know that. We rolled this out to departments, each department was a little different, had a little different scenario, and it took longer to do it that way, but I think overall it was less headaches. The reason why I want to start with the jail side is because we've already got it in juvenile detention and correctional work center, so we've already got it in that kind of 24-hour environments, yeah. So we already know that works.
Well, some of the departments, you were able to put it on computers, weren't you?
Yes, yes. That was a cheap way to do it, really cheap way to do it, because they just put it on our
You said you already,
Go ahead.
you said you already had it where? I know you said
juvenile
juvenile.
detention and correctional work, the workhouse.
Okay.
32,000 will cover all the employees.
Yes.
So
the additional-
realistically, you won't spend all that this year anyway. Time you start off with the detention officers and you work your way down.
Well, it's only
and then it'll roll
October.
back into fund balance.
It's only
that year anyway.
October. It might happen.
It might happen.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
an
thinking
optimist, everybody.
positively.
I mean, huh?
Yeah.
I just think it's gonna be a lot more complicated than the ones that are out on the road.
And see, I'm not
You know,
thinking
and
that
stuff,
it's
and
going to
so-
be. I don't think it is. I mean, there's different ways around.
I don't need to get into the
Well, I would
day-to-day
just say-
operations here myself.
Shelbyville Police Department's on it. So I figured they've managed through it.
If they can do it,
We can do it.
Okay.
But we
That's
won't
kinda-
spend money as long as we don't implement, it'll still be there.
Right.
And if it doesn't get spent, it'll roll
It'll
back
roll
into
back
fund
in.
balance end of the year.
What happens if they forget?
If they
There's-
forget a punch,
Their supervisor
their
has to-
supervisor goes in and
has
puts it
to
in.
Put it in for them.
What's cool about
If
this
you just
system,
didn't pay them, they wouldn't do it twice.
what's cool about the system, it records the punch, and it records the person who goes in and corrects the punch.
So what if, come into work,
Mhm.
then they leave for a doctor's appointment.
They should clock out.
Well, and then they come back from the doctor's appointment,
Clock
they go
in.
back in. and-
Yeah, just
but
clock
then-
in.
and- Okay. Well, I'm thinking
Yeah, I mean,
about it for patrol.
we've
That's
gone
gonna
in
be
and
a-
out, but most of the patrol, they're on. I mean, you know, this is how one system did it. Not to say that that's how we would do it. I'm just saying there are ways to do it. What is it? 10-8? Is that the word? 10-8? Where's our
I
police
don't
notes?
know.
means you're in route.
You're en route. So when, in this particular jurisdiction, when they did the 10-8, the dispatcher went in and clocked them in. And when they said 10 whatever, I'm going home, the dispatcher put it in. So, I mean, the communication was already coming in, and the dispatcher did it. But there's some potential other solutions. But anyway, that's the stuff that we need to flesh out before we go into the patrol side.
Any other questions or motions?
What makes this lovely is that the entries are in there after they're approved. The entries come into our timekeeping. We have less hands touching it, and it calculates and it adds it up for you. You know, saying paper timesheets, they're not always reviewed to the detail that they need to be.
So it will not only be more intricate, it'll also be time saving for your department.
Oh, gosh, yes.
How will they record vacation and sick time?
That's what this does. It's,
You ask for it in advance.
Okay,
Except
so you
sick leave,
code
sometimes
the
you don't.
dates or something?
You get it approved.
yes,
Pre-approved.
it goes, if I ask for time off, then it would go to my supervisor. They get an email that says Lisa is asking off.
Okay.
They can go in, supervisor goes in. It immediately shows them, does the employee have any leave to take? They see their balances. And then secondly, who else is off that day? So they can make a decision quickly.
They don't double book
Right.
vacation and get up short or something
Right.
like
Will
that.
it do anything that helps them manage overtime?
Yes. I mean, managing overtime, it would aid them in that. It's
They'll
got some
document it.
management reports. It's got management reports for them that you can set parameters up, and
Oh,
that
that's
manager can start looking at that and saying, you know, you've got so many hours booked, well, how many hours have been worked? You know?
What's the training that comes along with it? You?
Yes. I mean, it's not hard.
Yeah.
I mean, for the employee, it is really easy.
I was really thinking
You
more
know,
for the
punching.
manager if there's.
For the managers, we've done it over and over and over. That's how, I mean, it's not, it's like any other piece of software, you gotta find the do it button that does what you want it to do.
4 radios. We're gonna break down those pieces for me.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Ball. Commissioner Jernigan. No further discussion. We'll call the roll.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Fee?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Motion passes. Is there any other business? I see nothing on our iPads. Anything else? Well, if nobody else has anything, we will meet again in the big room a week from tonight, full commission. We are adjourned. Thank you.